Sir Bernard Lovell School in Bristol is a 14 to 19 pathfinder, leading a partnership of 6 secondary schools with the City of Bristol FE College. With specialist language status and 1,300 pupils on roll, it has taken a bold step. It decided to spend the lion's share of its capital budget on IT hardware. Providing students with the best front-end facilities is a strategy designed to help embed ICT and to make the best use of their sophisticated server network.
We do prioritise for ICT because we're trying to change the nature of our curriculum and the experiences which youngsters have. And we believe that the use of ICT is critical in the educational reform that we want to see. We look for a range of funding streams which can help us. We provide quite a high level of equipment within the school for youngsters and for staff. We do this by bringing together funding out of our base budget, funding out of our devolved capital, and also funding from other sources.
And if you take a photograph like that, I've used the rule of thirds on this, and actually those 2 sections there, all perfectly.
The funding strategy has meant spending £250,000 to put momentum into the policy of making e-learning core to every subject in every department. Not only is IT available in every teaching area, there is timetabled access to IT rooms in all subjects.
It enables students to have a much more cohesive experience of IT across the school, across many different departments, and enables them to have confidence that they can use IT regularly and develop their own skills and competence using IT.
Revenue was analysed and a financial commitment made. In a move that some might balk at, the school decided to take the plunge and purchase 500 new PCs in one go. To make the sums work, some deft management of the school's capital budgets was necessary. The decision-making process was managed by a strategic team of curriculum directors, teaching staff, resource managers and the head teacher.
When we were looking to buy new kit, we were able to take in the considerations not just about teaching and learning, but about the network implications of new resources, how it impacts on the use of extranet, financial implications, and so it means we can arrive at a much more planned, rational decision which is going to benefit the school as a whole and have a real impact on teaching and learning.
The IT systems manager at the school has experience of purchasing IT hardware in a commercial environment. His expertise plays a crucial role in advising teachers how best to decide upon the level of capital expenditure at Sir Bernard Lovell.
In common with a lot of schools, we tended to work the stuff into the ground. And at that point, 2 years ago, we had a change of focus and decided to adopt more of a business style model and try and refresh the kit every 3 years so that we made sure we kept everything up to date, latest hardware within that 3-year cycle, and put in place a plan to really let us change everything and do away with the hardware failures that we've been living with up till that point.
Sir Bernard Lovell School's adoption of a best practice business model for capital purchase is something which is being encouraged by Bector.
We're picking up some of Bector's work on the framework for IT support in schools based on the common ITIL infrastructure, and we're starting to implement that here as well for our processes.
Andrew Macaulay's persuasive case was agreed, and the spend on IT hardware got the green light. The school's business manager decided the best way to pay for all the new kit was to take out loans with the South Gloucestershire LEA.
We've taken them out over 3 years, which gives you the first year free of repayment, and then 2 annual payments of half the amount plus the interest. And through the LEA, we've got a reasonable rate of 0.5% below base rate for servicing the loans. On the whole, annual repayments are cheaper than quarterly repayments, both for the LEA and through other financial institutions. You get a much lower rate in total, and most schools can actually afford to pay an annual sum rather than needing to spread it over quarters or monthly rates.
Deploying devolved capital over an extended period, effectively borrowing against assured future income, is becoming a key tool in the school business manager's armoury.
Since the part of the NGFL funding now has been divided up and put into devolved capital, it makes the devolved capital far more flexible to be used. What we will have to do is make sure that some of it is earmarked towards ICT, or else it could all go on building. We need to sort of almost compartmentalise how we look at our devolved capital.
So, with the funding streams identified and the decision taken to buy in bulk, the IT systems manager then had to get the school a good price. He prefers to stick with big, well-known brand names.
The first year around we bought a number of PCs which served us very well, and they came in with what was both the best value and the best price when I went to quotes for those. The second year around we knew that when we got more PCs in, to try and stick with the same models would give us savings in maintenance costs, and so I figured that in when I put together the best value proposition at the time. Those brands do have a certain quality associated with them. The hardware does tend to be more reliable in my experience. So I've tended to stay with first-tier providers, really, just to give us the extra reassurance of reliability. And when I've gone out to them for pricing and benchmarked them against other educational suppliers, they have come back with good pricing. We're legally obliged to go for best value, but some people interpret that as best price.
And his tactic with the computer sales reps was simple. That tried and trusted technique of haggling hard for the best deal.
The first round of quotes I got in for the equipment I wanted were way in excess of that, and I just kept going round and round again until the figure really approached something I was happy with. And then I'd say don't stop there, but at least go around once more and see if you can squeeze some extras in. If you can't get the price down, get your suppliers to give you some added value, like extending the warranties included in the price, which, if their kit is of a decent quality, actually isn't too much of a risk for them to throw in.
So now we can use triangular numbers. You can use a recursive one as well. So find the sum of integers.
So the sums made sense, and Sir Bernard Lovell's bold decision, spending £250,000 on a regular 3-year cycle, has produced a sizable dividend. It's broadened access to the school's extranet and e-learning network, which was itself funded by 14 to 19 Pathfinder money and by revenue generated by a commercial partnership with a software developer in Australia. The whole ICT strategy was underpinned by the school's own research into learning styles relating to an online curriculum. Resources are accessed via an extranet, both during lessons and at home.
With extended work that we're able to set, it means that we can break away from just giving paper-based materials to students, and it enables us to set work that's far more media rich, so we can set up a piece of extended work on the extranet which contains many different forms of media, images, links to the internet, video clip, which we wouldn't have been able to do if we hadn't developed the resource. And it means that students can learn in a whole variety of ways, not only in the lessons but outside of lessons as well. It also enables teachers who know they've got a planned absence can also prepare work in advance, which contains a whole load of media and a range of different ways for students to learn, which means that students' experience doesn't need to be disrupted as much from planned absence.
There are 3 levels of access to the extranet, each with its own password-protected login. Students can access their own areas and can file work into a personal e-locker. This helps teachers and students to work together to develop more personalised learning experiences.
You can put all your private files and notes in there so no one else can see them, and it's password protected, so it's quite good.
Parents too can log in, and they can access their children's performance records and information and data posted by teachers. They can enter into dialogue with staff at the school.
A parent would only be able to see information relating to their own son or daughter. Likewise, the student themselves would only see things that relate to them. A teacher, of course, would have access to all the students they teach and maybe other groups as well.
Staff can use the system to store and process performance data, such as the latest Year 8 maths test.
Use of the extranet in mathematics, which is my own subject, is particularly effective as regards online testing. The students, at the end of the test, get immediate feedback as regards which questions they've got right and which ones they've got wrong. The data that I have at the end of the lesson is a distribution curve, which gives me the analysis of the whole results for the whole group, and I can pick individual students and see where they lie within that distribution. Even more useful than that is the breakdown of each individual question's response. So lots of green is good, lots of red is a problem, and it's a very good point to then start remediation with the students, asking them, first of all, why do you think students got this question wrong? And very often they can analyse the result and tell me where they've gone wrong, and that's a very useful way of using assessment for learning for progressing from there.
Okay, and paste. And there you go. Then you press play. So now you can put in drum beats, you can put in guitar patterns, whatever you like.
Outside of music lessons, the extranet allows students to have direct access to their tutors, and one-to-one contact means individual learning plans can be developed.
The individual learning plans allow us to communicate basically at any time with the students, so it removes the constraints of being in an ordinary classroom, and that can be a very good thing because a young person who may be at home talking to their parents, and it can be actually a three-way conversation, and this is what we are trying to achieve in joining up all the different sides of the advice and guidance that a young person has, both at school and at home.
The question was, I've started to think about the kind of work placement I would like to do. I just basically write down what I'd like to do and my thoughts about it and answer the questions basically, and then later on Miss Ward will go on to it and then look through it and then write me back another comment on maybe how I can do it and to reply to her once I've got as far as I need to.
The response of students to all the new kit has been very positive.
They're much better than the old ones because they never crash and it's much easier to log on and it's all really clear. It's all like really quick, so you know what's going on and everything, and you can just click on anything and it'll come straight away. But it's harder as well because they changed all the menus. The computer are easier, but the menus are harder.
They're better than the last ones we had when I first got here. They were slow dinosaurs, sort of thing.
The computers around the school are really easy to access. You can always log on to it and just see if you need to write any more, or if Mrs. Ward has already replied to you. So that's good, and you can also access it at home as well.
My mum can log on at home and see how I'm getting on as well, which is good.
Sir Bernard Lovell School is now wedded to a strategy of replacing high-spec computers every 3 years. This sizable cost sets the school a big challenge: to find additional funding for other capital projects.
It's a standard business model to write the kit off over 3 years and refresh it that often. Sometimes more often, sometimes slightly less, but around the 3-year mark.
We always have to have a balance in any expenditure. We see ICT as a priority, but we must make sure that other expenditure is there too. We need to make sure that the buildings are in good order. We need to make sure that we have a very good and stimulating learning environment, which is not just ICT. So we have to get that balance. Obviously, bringing in a range of funding streams helps us. Being able to manage the money over a 3-year period helps as well in terms of making sensible decisions about what you spend your money on in each particular year.